Thriving Communities is a community placemaking movement across this region that is based fully on the local assets that make each and every one of our towns and cities across our 16-county region unique and special.
Each have assets, natural assets, community assets, but a lot of times they don't have the resources to serve as that spark. Each one of the communities have things that are powerful, but I think if you do knit them all together, it creates a presence in this region that people don't usually see.
Our challenge statement is how we might utilize arts and cultural assets to create community vibrancy and economic growth.
What is so impactful about the Thriving Communities program is it's taking this idea of creative placemaking and applying it on a regional scale, but with a localized focus. It takes planning from a small group of officials and places it into the hands of a community as a whole. It gives them ownership of this whole process and it makes it theirs.
Every one of these communities have their own unique features, and this process helps them be able to articulate better and organize around what those assets are.
We do not take a top-down approach. That never works. People need to be a part of the change, and they need to be a part of steering that change in the direction that they wish for it to go.
1,300 people cared enough to fill out the survey, which told us we could build an army if we had the right tools and the right idea set.
This approach is very new to me. I've never seen it done this way. And what's unique to me is that you start not with the idea, but build up to the idea of what you want to do for your community.
This approach allowed people to become engaged and allowed them to voice their opinion and concerns. And they began to feel like they were taking ownership of a process.
What Thrive allowed us to do was take the time to sit down with parts of my community that I didn't realize I was disconnected from. I think what we were expecting to hear was people wanting more amenities, but really what we heard was a desire for people to feel connected. And then we got to turn what we heard into actual experiences and experiments.
Once the teams have come up with a strategy, they move into an experimental phase where they go out into their community and test their ideas. During this experimental phase, they are constantly collecting feedback from event attendees and fellow community members that are going to continue to inform their strategy.
Our first pop-up event drew nearly 300 people to downtown Dalton, and we really had proof of concept that people would turn out. So our plan is to create 4 more pop-up events over the next 6 or 8 months with the idea of further defining them in the eyes of the community about what's possible.
Whether it's a chalk art festival or a butterfly festival, the communities are prototyping these ideas to ensure that this is an authentic match for their communities.
The best part of the Thriving Communities process was you've got access to these awesome mentors that you just don't have innately in your city. When we had our first meeting here and over 50 people showed up and identified all of our natural resources, all of our tangible assets, intangible assets, it was clear that we are surrounded by beauty.
There are different ways to think about problem solving. And if I and my teammates can carry that back to our community and can inspire other people to implement this model, then there's no telling really how far it'll go. It only takes one person to really think about the problem in the right way in order for generational success to occur.
To me, having a thriving community means that you have a place where everybody's strengths are recognized, celebrated, and everybody has the opportunity to use those strengths to build community and to build a future for our children.
I know that real change and sustainable progress takes time, and it only moves at the pace of relationships. I thought I knew my community, but I didn't really know my community. And Thrive was kind of that missing piece that connected all those dots.
We don't want growth across this region to completely eat up our communities so that they lose their identity. And so our hope is that we can really uncover some of the hidden gems and at the end of the day, come up with some very sustainable strategies so that their children and their children's children will always know a sense of place and want to celebrate for generations to come.